Yes, so Hairless here. Today we have a Patreon request and it is a new name to the channel, Nightwish. I have received recommendations of Nightwish before, so Nightwish has been on my list for a while now. I've not looked into them, and as it's a first reaction, I sort of want it to be a bit of a surprise. I like trying to figure things out and receiving comments about these new artists to the channel. I do know that they are a Finnish symphonic metal band. That term, it conjures up some ideas in my mind about what to expect, mostly around instrumentation, musical texture, possibly musical structure, but otherwise it could be anything really. Their lead singer is Laurie. I've seen that name in the comments quite a bit on my Diana Ankodinova videos, and Lara Fabian, and Dimash, and Dan Vask, and Homefree. Yeah, all over the place. I've seen that name commented a lot. I have been told that she was brought into Nightwish 10 months prior to this performance that we're about to see. About this performance, it's a song called Ever Dream, and it's from the Wacken festival in Germany in 2013. I didn't know what that was, but I googled it, and apparently it's a heavy metal festival, or hard rock and metal, that sort of music. I looked up the lyrics, and they're quite poetic, to be honest. Anyone who's watched this channel before will know that I know next to nothing about heavy metal, so I don't really have a lyrical benchmark to compare to. The lyrics are on screen here. I must be honest and say they're much more poetically romantic than I would have thought, so I'm intrigued to see how they'll be set to music. I think it's best we probably just get straight into it.
But for now we're gonna start a little softer with Ever Dream. Ever felt away with me, just once, that all I need, entwined in finding you one day. Ever felt away without me, my love, it lies so deep. Ever dream of me.
Alright, let's pause there. Our first ever pause with Nightwish. I did not know what to expect. It was not that. You know, I've got goosebumps. There's definitely an atmosphere created by the music. I've paused here because now it seems that the song's really starting to get going. If this is your first time watching this channel, this is where we go over and analyse what we've just heard. So if you don't want to hear any analysis, go to the timestamp here. Alright, yeah, there's a fair bit to talk about. So right from the opening. What an opening. Crowd surf and these... I call these rock hands. Flouro says that they're going to start softer.
For now we're gonna start a little softer.
So this is one of their softer songs. We get a nice pensive piano intro, chordal left hand, and the rhythmic drive is coming in the right hand in those arpeggiated figures. I'll get back to that in a second.
With Ever Dream.
I've not seen much metal music live. I have seen some, but not much. We get some clapping here. Is clapping for what I would call a pretty calm bit of music, is that expected of metal fans? They speed up very quickly and quickly get out of time with the music. So to me that's surprising, but maybe it's something that's done in the world of metal. Let me know please. I have zero contextual understanding of metal music, so I'm very, very intrigued. Right, so back to the piano part. Here is what we get in the intro. Let me hop over to the piano and show you. The chords are G minor, E flat, G minor, F. The piano part is designed for minimal movement. See how barely anything moves when the chords change? It's designed to be calm, simple, lending all of the attention to the constantly moving right hand. To visualize it with sheet music, if it's helpful, I'll do a transcription and I'll put it on the screen now. So, my initial thoughts, my first ever experience of Nightwish, is that we get a very purposefully simple opening in terms of harmonic movement, how they're playing each chord. But they're also keeping things moving in the right hand of the piano. There's constantly a note being played. Each note effectively acts as a beat at this moment because we don't have the drums yet. Very cinematic, isn't it? You know, wind blowing in the hair. Visual contrast, black and white. The first thing that struck me about Flauro's voice was her enunciation, how carefully and well pronounced everything is. Considering the lyrics, I'm not actually too surprised by this. I'd describe it as an elegant singing style for sure. Right, so a bit further on, my immediate thoughts here. Straight away, the term symphonic metal makes sense. It's a dichotomy almost between stereotypically metal instrumentation of the electric guitar power chords, heavy drums, the bass guitar, and the symphonic element, orchestral instruments. I'm looking out for other instrumentalists on stage, but I don't see them. We can clearly hear strings, for example, which are really helping with the rhythmic chord momentum. So I guess Nightwish play on top of a pre-recorded symphonic track? Is that how it works? Yeah, and all these people crowd surfing. How cool. Him, is this dirt? Or has he been like mudsliding? I have so many contextual questions, as I said, about the world of metal and these gigs or concerts or live performances. I'm not sure how they're called. Back to the music. There are some very cool melodic lines in there. I mean, we're hearing so many different parts. We can think of each part as a kind of layer, and together they build this huge sound. The one that sticks out to me there is one of the upper parts. And then it kind of goes down there. And then another thing I find interesting is the dancing. Is this headbanging? It seems so elegant. I always imagine headbanging to be more like, I'm obviously not a good candidate because I don't have hair flying around the place. And yeah, final thing before we carry on, the bass guitarist. That's cool, he's properly strumming the bass guitar string. In most music I listen to, the bass is almost exclusively finger plucked. So I find this interesting and it explains the depth to the bass sound that we hear. Alright, and then a few seconds later, and that's where we got to and paused. Overall, I think it's a very cool structure to the opening of the song. Calm introduction, texturally reduced to just piano and voice, and then everything else comes in except for the voice, for an instrumental interlude almost, and now Flouro comes in again. Let's carry on. Whoa, what a voice he has as well. Wow, that's nearly 2 minutes, I think, since our previous pause. If it's your first time seeing this channel, copyright is not our friend, so I'd rather be safe than sorry and do a couple pauses. Yeah. There's cool things going on. Cool things indeed. Let's go back over the past couple of minutes. I'll try to pick out some of the more interesting things I thought. What I find most interesting about this is the calm, almost serene type of atmosphere the music creates.
Won't you do it with me? Heal the scars and change the stars.
Which in my mind is kind of counterintuitive. Other musical elements that we hear are the opposite of serene. Rhythmic bass, heavy beat. I think it's due to the constant synthy sounding chords that we're getting in the upper registers in the background. They're sustained, and I say synthy because to me it's not immediately obvious if they're strings or choral or one of those played via a synthesizer.
Won't you do it with me? Heal the scars.
It's a nice contrast of sounds, and they even each other out. I think it creates a very, very interesting soundscape. I think it's also a nicely constructed melody. It's got a simple melodic shape. It comes down and then it goes back up. And I really like the rhythmic structure too. What they've done with the melodies in terms of rhythm. Let me quickly write up the melody. Don't worry if you can't read music. I'll try and make it a bit more of a visual thing to demonstrate why I think the melody's catchy. So this is what the melody looks like. Just so we can hear it, I've also put the beats in. We have 4 beats in a bar. Now here, it looks slightly different, it's a bit more colourful. The melody is separated into 3 sections. So let's look at it like this. Firstly, we have the melodic arc. The first section, it descends. The second section, it ascends. And then the final section, it ascends, descends, ascends. And then it's a repeat of earlier and descending. The red notes that you see, they're the entry of each phrase and they always come on the second beat of the bar. This is a constant between all of the phrases. It's always the second beat they start on. So we get very familiar with the second beat being the start of the phrases. The dark blue text, these are the same rhythms at the start of a phrase. The lighter blue text that we get here, this is the one change where these notes are twice as long as we get with the darker blue text. And as a result, the following notes are slightly shorter. And the green text, this is where we get the syncopated rhythms, which means where the accents are on the off beats, so in between the main beats. Now let's listen to it again and hopefully that's clearer and the visuals help. So all in this short melodic line, we can separate it into a few clear sections, each with similarities to each other, which always helps when it comes to remembering a melody, but also some subtle differences. Altered note lengths, standard rhythms and accents versus syncopated or the stressed offbeats, ascending versus descending. And arguably most importantly, it's not too complicated, so it sticks with us. Here's another example of the accented offbeats. And then a bit further on there was a phrase, so on the repeated give in, it's a nice small repetition about an exact carbon copy rhythmically, which creates syncopation, and I think it energizes the melody through rhythmic variety. Cha-cha, cha-cha. I think I went part, yeah, let me go back a bit. Here, the guitarist and the drummer. Are they speaking to each other? How can they hear each other? So many questions. Right, so onto the singing itself. I was wondering if Flour goes higher, how she would sing, what kind of voice she would use. Would it be a head voice or her chest voice or a blend? It's not pure chest voice or full voice. It seems like a blended voice. There's a significant portion of her head voice being used, and then she goes to full head voice for the last note of the phrase. Yeah, as I said earlier, I think she has a really elegant voice. Not what I was expecting, but then again, I'm not really sure what I was expecting. Maybe a bit more raspy or sounding a bit more strained. She has a very pure sound. But then him, what a voice on him. He comes straight in on this B flat. in his chest voice, that's high. Wow. I'm also really, really enjoying the crowd, how much everyone is just loving it. We got a Mexican flag. Yeah. Everyone's so energetic. Compared to music of other genres, you know, I've been to concerts where the whole crowd sits down. It's just a completely different atmosphere. I do like this bit. It's a descending stepwise melody. The words are entwined in finding you one day. Super simple rhythms. And that downwards motion is contrasted by the bass and the guitar power chords, which are rising. So like that. And similarly, I really like a bit that comes just afterwards. Again, descending, very fitting for the lyrics. Beauty cascaded on me. We hear this. That first interval sounds quite menacing. Quite sad, like a falling, sinking motion. Which is strange because it's a major third. Otherwise known as the happy third, rather than minor third. Which is a sad feel. It shows how important musical context is when it comes to melodies. The harmonies underneath the melody, they are what's really important in affecting the overall sound and feeling of music at a fundamental level. I think this aspect of music often gets overlooked, which is why I try and focus on it in my videos. Alright, let's carry on, probably until the end now. Wow, that's certainly something. I imagine being there at the time would have been unbelievable. Do you think they know after they've just performed that that's going to go down as like an epic performance or a historic performance? Yeah, I mean, a lot of cool things there. Definitely a nice surprise. Let's just go over some final bits from that last section. So we got this guitar solo. And then after the guitar solo, we get this section. It's definitely symphonic. The main driving force here is the strings track that we're hearing. And it's cool to see the clapping now, because I mentioned it earlier, but they're actually encouraging it. So I guess this is probably a big part of metal culture. I definitely get the sense that we're building up to something. I like what they do from a textural layering standpoint as well. We get more parts coming in, most notably the beat. Then the guitar and the bass, and that's all leading up to this climactic moment. Key change. We move up to B flat. Moving up in key, that means Flouro is going to have to sing higher. She goes up to this F up here, in that powerful blended voice of hers. She did actually go one note higher than that a bit later on. She has a great voice, doesn't she? And again, his voice too. So much power. I don't have too much more to say. The ending, I'm not sure you'll be able to see here, but I find this so fascinating. There's multiple people just crowd surfing. Is that what you call it? Lying there, being lifted up, and all the rock hands as well. Culturally, it's not something that I'm familiar with. I find it very, very interesting. So yeah, do let me know in the comments down below answers to all the questions I've been asking. Yeah, very cool performance. I feel like I understand symphonic metal a bit better now. It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, to summarize, I really liked it. Lyrics are great. Melodies were great. Musical structure in general, things like the texture. Not my usual type of music. I've never really been familiar with the metal scene at all. And I'm interested by when she said this is one of the softer ones. What makes it softer? Is it the melodiousness of it? Is it the lyrics? Is it the BPM? The tempo? So many questions. Well, I think let's leave that one there. Thank you again for this request, and thanks to everyone for watching as always. Would appreciate a like and subscribe. Comment down below other reactions you'd like to see me do in the future. If you enjoy my content, want to support me, join the community and vote on future polls, you can do so by joining the YouTube membership or Patreon linked below, and I will see you next time.